What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Gotham Season 4, Episode 20, That Old Corpse. So, yeah, going through, I'm trying to, catch up on everything that I didn't finish, and then hopefully get into some new seasons. I guess it depends on how much I have left and also how much time before I have to get back to life again. But, anyways, we're going to go ahead and kick it off with Gotham, and I made a good choice with that, because, man, this episode was really, really good. And it brings me back to why I enjoy Gotham in the first place, because there's just so much fun to be had. I still remember talking about like the first season really, and just how kind of like restrained it was. They felt like they were trying to do something with just looking at Jim Gordon's story and looking at pre-Batman stuff, but it didn't really feel like they had found a foothold. But once they really got their foothold in what they wanted to do, and just telling this story of these characters and basically growing into the Batman lore almost, while also taking a little liberties, here and there. It's been a fun ride, and so I was really excited to get back into it. Honestly, it was pretty easy to pick back up too. Like there was so much of it that I kind of kept in my mind because it was such a good show. So it was very easy for me to just watch again, kind of, just I guess go through the whole previously on Gotham part, and I'm caught right back up. So this one's all about Jeremiah, of course, and just I guess his reveal. I'm not really sure where they're going with this, to be honest. I'm excited, I really, really am, but I don't. I'm a little concerned at the same time, because I'm worried about what they're gonna do as far as is he gonna be the Joker? Like, is he? Because right now he's clearly not. He is taking on a lot of what his brother wanted to do, but he's a lot more calm. He's a lot more, I guess, he's a lot more intelligent than his brother as well. And in fact, I love the little call because I thought it was kind of an interesting thing when he was talking about early in the episode. He was reading Bruce what was in the journal, and he said, if my brother was just a little bit sane, he would have killed us all. And I like that because later on in the episode, when you find out that Jeremiah is actually sort of taking on Jerome's ideas, but in a sane way, it's almost like earlier in the episode, he's saying, look, I will kill you all because I'm not like my brother. I'm not insane. I am truly sane. Now, I don't know, they didn't really confirm whether or not the gas is what drove him here or if he already was here and just playing with everyone, I guess. I don't know if we're ever going to know that for sure. It is kind of left up in the air. And I would kind of prefer if that was left up in the air. I mean, he could have already been on the edge of it and then the insanity gas just pushed him there. Or he could have already been down that rabbit hole and he was just playing everybody, making everybody think, oh no, I'm on your side. No, Jerome, he's crazy. I don't want anything to do with him. But secretly, he's just waiting until Jerome dies, inevitably, and just uses that to his advantage because you can see how much he planned in this episode. From sending the video out to the followers or, to Jim, sending that message to the followers, and just everything, like every little piece was moving according to his plans. And so it was a very calculated plan. I love that. I love it whenever a villain can be so calculating that you just see how he made every step and how it worked along the way. Now, of course, a lot of that is, well, there's a lot of stuff he had to know that there's no way he could possibly know for it to work. Like, everybody would have to play exactly how he expected them to play. And yeah, that's a little, I'm sure the fact that Jim, he's going to find a way to survive because we know these characters are not going to die. Um, so I'm sure he's going to find a way around that. And I bet that's going to throw a little wrench into Jeremiah's plan because he's going to expect Jim to have died in that explosion. I am going to be curious how he survived because based on that explosion, there's no way. This should not be he hid in the fridge type of thing. Crystal Skull. I'm curious to see how they're going to explain that. And it is Gotham, so you gotta suspend your disbelief a little bit because how many times have people survived things that they should not have? But I'll be curious to see what their explanation is. But yeah, there's so many good things in this episode. I can't really talk about it all, or else we'd be here forever. So I'll just talk about like I guess the main good things and then the one little problem I have. First of all, the problem, very minor, but I feel like this is kind of cluttered, And the only reason for that is because there are so many moving pieces. And I get the fact you do have a lot of characters to keep track of. You got a lot of storylines to keep track of. So I expect things to get a little cluttered. If it didn't feel cluttered, I'd be more surprised. The fact that they have had a few episodes where they really did a good job of making sure everything had its place. I mean, they've done a good job with that in the past, but now that there's so many moving pieces and they all are interconnected, they have to tell every story. They can't just ignore one story for an episode because that storyline has progress during the time that they're focused on another story. So it's got to be difficult. I can't imagine trying to juggle all of these different characters and all these subplots and main plots, and it's got to be insane. So for what they have to work with, they do a really good job. But there are moments where it just kind of feels like, I want to stay focused on what's going on with Jeremiah, Bruce, Jim, and all of this stuff going on with like Jerome's followers. But then we have to cut away to Lee and Enigma, which I still am not a big fan of that storyline. I still think Lee went way too far. It's almost like they just saw Deadpool, saw how she could act in Deadpool, and like, you know what? What if we have Lee act like that? But I don't know. I still don't really like her turn and how it's taken this season. But they have to spend time on it because Lee has just been captured, so they have to figure out what's going on with Enigma. Um, I will also say there was that one girl that was supposed to be helping Jim. It just occurred to me maybe she somehow like helped him get out of the explosion. I don't know for sure. Um, but yeah, that's the only real problem I have. My favorite parts though are, I mean, just first of all the reveal. The reveal was really really good. They did a really good job with that, and just really exploring Jeremiah as a character. But also I love some of the funny moments. Just some of the comic gold in this show just counteracts the dark tone so well because it's not necessarily just laugh funny moments. No, it's like it's kind of dark humor mixed in with actual good jokes. The couple that just really stood out to me, first of all, Alfred, whenever he's on the phone with Jim, and Jim's just like, yeah, we're just having some problem with Jerome's followers. And all of a sudden, Alfred, just without even missing a beat, grabs his gun. Oh, really? And just cocks it. Alfred's easily one of my favorite characters out of this entire show, and he just continues to bring it every episode. I'm sure he made it out of that situation okay, more than likely. I also love just the random humor that they'll throw in, like whenever the Riddler opens up the back of the truck and it's like, Riddler, we're saved! Closes it, and then, Penguin, we're saved! Just so stupid and random, but I kind of love it because it fits. And of course, that leads into more random humor with Butch and Penguin. They're randomly at his house talking about, Butch is pissed off because, like, why are we not doing anything? And then they bring one of Jerome's followers back, and the little jokes here and there about that one. It's like, I just want to see if I make him piss his pants a little bit. Oh, well, you want to stick some chicken bones up his nose? Just perfectly timed jokes, and it fits the characters so well. They do such a good job of making the jokes fit in with that. And not just making characters do stupid stuff because, it's funny if they're stupid. So, but yeah, overall, I mean, very good episode. I am going to finish off the season in this video, so looking forward to see how this all wraps up. And then, obviously, the last season is after this. So yeah, I'm excited, and we'll see where it goes from here. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. And now for episode 21, One Bad Day. And I really love the themes they're playing with here. Like, it's so much fun to see Jeremiah, who is not really the Joker. I mean, when you really think about the character of the Joker, and he is somebody who is more of an anarchist. Honestly, Jerome was more of the Joker than Jeremiah is. But even with that being said, just seeing the themes that they're playing with between Jeremiah and Bruce is so much fun to watch. And it really does tie into how the Joker feels about Batman. When you think about how, I can't remember where I've seen it, but I've seen something where I think Bruce was talking to somebody, maybe Alfred, and talking about why the Joker is obsessed with him. And I think at some point Batman has said, like, that could have been me. If I had taken another step, that could have been me, but I didn't. And I love that concept of, like, the Joker sees something in Batman that he sees within himself, and he's like, I want to try to get you there. I want to try it. I don't want to kill you. I just want you to feel what I feel. And that's a fun theme to play on. And so seeing them do it, but with Jeremiah and Bruce, is a lot of fun because Jeremiah is so calculating, and he wants Bruce to see what it's like to feel the way he does. And again, is this something that Jeremiah's felt before all of this happened? Who knows? It's hard to tell whether the insanity gas pushed him over the edge or not. And I love the fact that they're not really telling us. It's kind of left up to our imagination. But overall, the episode itself was fun. There definitely were some intense moments, even though you kind of know in the end it's going to work out. Like, Jeremiah's not going to blow up the whole city. Alfred's not actually going to die. In that one scene where he's carving his face up and he's attacking Bruce and then he gets shot in the head, it's not actually Alfred. And that is something that I will say, and I didn't mention in the last episode, but there are certain moments that they kind of played up for shock, like for our shock, not just the character shock, and we're not. Like in the last episode, whenever they get to the graveyard, like they're playing up this scene like, oh yeah, we're just gonna see the body, and then they get there and the grave's empty, and it's kind of like, oh no, but we already knew that. We saw, the characters digging up the body, but they almost play it like we're supposed to be shocked too, but that's not the case. Same here, like we see. Scarecrow is pumping the gas into the room. So whenever Bruce walks into that room, Alfred starts carving his face up and stuff. Like, I am on edge because I know Bruce is seeing this and I feel for him, but I don't actually think that's Alfred. I know that's not Alfred because it can't be. It's the gas, and we know Alfred's not going to have, huge scars like Jerome did. And we know that when he gets shot in the head, that's not actually Alfred. So I don't know. I wish they wouldn't do that. I wish they wouldn't have those moments where it's like, oh no, guys, what's going to happen? Even at the end when Harvey's about to pull the wire, like just intense music. He's like, and it's like building. He's like, like, I like the fact that he feels this way because he would. But it's like they're trying to make us feel the same tension, and it's difficult to feel that way whenever we know ultimately the plan's not going to succeed. So I don't know. It's just a little minor nitpick. Like, it just feels sometimes they play up the moments too much. But overall, like, I still had a lot of fun. Good to see Selena back, even though she gets shot at the end. I do love just. I mean, it's a perfect cliffhanger for the final episode. He just walks in, Day's not done yet, and then poof, shoots her in the stomach. But I don't know what to expect. Raj Al Ghul is stepping in. I do feel it's a little bit weird, just based on Raj Al Ghul and the League of Assassins. I just couldn't imagine them working with someone like Jeremiah, whose whole plan is basically just, oh, I want to blow up the city. It doesn't really feel like Raj Al Ghul to me, or Raish, however you say it. But at the same time, if this is more personal, if this is more focused on Bruce, okay, yeah, maybe that is something that could happen. Because I think Barbara now and Tabitha somehow. I don't remember all the stuff that happened with the League of Assassins, I'll be honest. Like, it kind of came and went pretty quickly. But overall, it was still a fun episode. It's building up really well to the final episode of this season, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. But yeah, that's all I can really think of as far as good and bad in this episode. So now on to the last one. See you there. And finally, we have episode 22, No Man's Land, the season finale, and it was pretty good. I enjoyed it for the most part. Definitely did have some problems, a little bit more, just because Lee and Ed's story, I've talked about it before, not exactly my favorite part of the season. It just kind of felt tagged on. It didn't feel real for Lee's character. And for this one, it felt like a distraction, honestly. And it just mainly because it took up more time than necessary. Like, I get the fact, okay, so we need Jim to get away from the military leader, which I'll talk about that too. So we need him to get away, so I don't know, let's have Ed, because he saw Lee and Jim have the conversation, let's have him kidnap Jim and, start threatening him and say, I'm going to kill you, that way Lee will finally realize who she's truly meant to be, and then ultimately Lee says, whatever she does to get Ed to finally be like, yes, that's all I ever wanted, and they'll release Jim. And then ultimately at the end, they just both stab each other. And that's pretty much it. And then on top of that, they end up with Strange. He's like, what am I going to do with you? Just like, great, so they're both dead, but they're not really because this is Gotham and nobody dies. And it was funny, I was actually just talking to my dad because he also likes this show, but one of his main complaints is nobody dies. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. I flashed back to that moment I saw Sophia Falcone get shot straight in the head, and in the next episode, or next scene, they're like, oh yeah, she's in a coma. I'm like, what? What? But yeah, so they're dead, but apparently not. Um, that was just, I don't know, it felt unnecessary, really. That's the main word I can think of for that. On top of that, they did bring in some cliches that I really don't think Gotham ever needed. Why do you need a military general? Like, that's I struggle to comprehend what the writers must have been thinking. Like, you know what? We need a way to get Bruce down there, so we need somebody to act like an idiot and bring Bruce down to the precinct so that way Jeremiah and Raish can get exactly what they're looking at. Let's bring in a military general. It's the best cliche we have. It's not. It's all over the place. The military general that comes in thinking he's all high and mighty and better than everyone. He's not listening to the people who know the city, even though they're dealing with people that clearly are above the normal human like scale. But he comes in, he owns the place, and then Jim's like, "Wait, Major, arrest him." What? Why? Jim knows these. He knows the situation. He knows all of the people involved. Like, I feel like any general or any military commander would say, "All right, I'm in charge. I'll make the final decision, but I'm going to utilize this guy who has all the information that we need to try to solve the situation." But because they need the episode to go forward somehow, and they need people to make dumb mistakes, there it goes. You bring in the military general, and then there's your cliche, and then everything goes to shit because he doesn't know what he's doing. So I don't know. I really don't like it whenever that, like, a very overused cliche like that happens, and something that makes you feel like they just needed some excuse. Like, it couldn't be Raish and Jeremiah did something that kind of set things in motion. Like, they do say, oh yeah, well, we killed the mayor because we knew that would get you down here. But why couldn't it be like they actually had something that did get Bruce where he was supposed to be? Or like they set up a call somehow from Jim, and like the line gets cut off and they knew that would get Bruce down there because he'd be scared for Jim. But instead it's just like, now let's just go with the old cliche of military general comes in and screws everything over. I don't know. I didn't like that. I thought it was unnecessary. I did like whenever the cops stood up to the military general though, because they knew Jim and Harvey knew what was going on. But aside from that, he was just. I'm not a big fan of overused and obvious cliches. But overall, things move forward pretty well. They did set up. I did feel like this episode was also kind of set up for next season, which is why I didn't really, I guess, grasp onto this episode as much. I like the setup. I like a lot of what they were doing at the end, and it gets me excited for next season. But also, I feel like they kind of blew aside some of the story they were building up to in this episode. Like, it felt like everything with Raish and Jeremiah teaming up and trying to get Bruce to where he's supposed to be, it all just kind of felt pushed aside because, oh, we got to build up to next season now. And I get that was kind of Raish's plan, is he wants what's going to happen next season, which is the criminals are all loose and Bruce has to step into the Batman shoes. But I don't know, it felt like that started taking precedence about halfway through the episode, where it's just like, well, now we got to take the rest of this episode to set up all the pieces, Lee and Enigma stab each other, Penguin shoots Butch and then has Tabitha, held, which, why did they end up taking Tabitha to Barbara, though? Like, I didn't really understand that so much, because in my mind I'm thinking, okay, Penguin's just going to keep her locked up, while he makes her suffer. But it's like, no, he just kills Butch in front of her to make her suffer, which I did like that. It's very Penguin-esque to bring Butch back to life, or, cure him of his disease, and have Tabitha and him have a happy moment right before he shoots Butch to get back at Tabitha for killing his mother. Which I'm just like, that is a very Penguin thing to do, so I liked that. But then he just lets her go. Like, he just has his guys take her back to Barbara. I'm like, you do realize you're basically saying, here, I know I just shot you in the leg and I've got you prisoner, but go, shoo. plan for my revenge, or your revenge on me now. Which I do think at the end it showed him getting into his museum, I believe, which I do like that little callback. Um, but then you see, you got, what's his name? Not Iceman. Good lord. Why can I not think of his name now? Victor Freeze, Mr. Freeze. We see him, like, I guess down in the sewerway or something. He's freezing people. You got Firefly doing her thing. You got all these little people, Scarecrow, he's got his little setup. They also brought in a couple new, like, I guess, new criminals for the next season. One of them looked like Man-Bat, which would be interesting. And then another one with a mask I didn't recognize, but I assume we'll figure out. But yeah, overall, like, it felt more like, guys, get excited for next season. And I don't mind that, but don't take up, like, a third of your episode to set up for next season, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, I prefer to finish out this season and have, like, the last 5 or 10 minutes be like, oh, guys, look at what's happening next season. Look at what you have to look forward to. Then, all right, guys, well, build up and climax. But you still got, like, 30 minutes, or not 30 minutes, but you still got, like, 20 minutes left before this all actually wraps up. So I don't know. It's a minor thing, but also kind of something that bugged me personally. Like, I didn't like it as much. I'm trying to remember if there was anything else that stood out about this. I like the showdown, with the League of Assassins and actually League of Shadows. I forgot they called it something different. You had Barbara, Tabitha, Alfred, and Penguin all sort of team up. And then, like, even there was a moment, this is why I really like the Penguin scene where he kills Butch. There's a moment where Tabitha is about to kill Jeremiah, but then he turns the tables on her and he's about to kill her. And then Penguin ends up shooting him in the shoulder to save her life. And so it's kind of like a funny little moment, like, look, he kept her alive. She thought he was going to, kill her, and she was so worried about him, but then he saves her life. And then he turns the tables on her in the end and kills Butch to make her suffer. I'm like, again, very Penguin of him. But yeah, I did find a little bit weird that Jeremiah, like, after everything happened, he somehow got away. I figured Alfred and Bruce would be like, keep an eye on him, don't let him get away, especially since he was injured. But we do see Bruce, like, he's going to stay. He's going to try to keep the city under control. Alfred's going to go with Selena, make sure she's okay, because at the end of it, they're saying it might be permanent damage, which I would be curious to find out what they're going to do with that. Because I'm still under the assumption that this is going to play out where it ends and he's Batman, and now we're in the Batman lore after this whole show is over. So it does kind of make me curious. Like, there are characters that it feels like they're doing different things with. Like, Ed's dead right now, but apparently somehow Strange is going to bring him back to life. Solomon Grundy, we saw it was Butch, but then he's back as Butch, but now he's dead again. So is he going to come back as Solomon Grundy again? We see Bruce is much more heavily involved, and he's already kind of there. And he and Jeremiah already kind of know each other. And Jeremiah sees, so it's almost kind of like they feel like if he does end up becoming Batman and Jeremiah does end up becoming Joker, it feels like they should already know, that that's who they are. I don't know. It just little nitpicks here and there, but it does kind of make me wonder what they're going to do at the end of this to wrap it all up. I'm looking forward to it still. I am very excited now that the final part of it did get me excited for next season, and it did its job very well. I just wish they didn't take so much time to build up for it. But overall, this season it was really good. I still really enjoy the show. I think they have their foothold. They know what they're doing, and it's just kind of like it just kept building. I love getting to see Jerome and Jeremiah interact. I love getting to see both sides. Cameron Monaghan, fantastic actor. He really brings a lot to the role. And I'd really love to see where the story was going throughout the season. I do think Sophia Falcone was she was just there and gone, like, oh, she's this big bad crime boss, and then she gets shot by Lee, and then all of a sudden she's in a coma, and I assume she's probably coming back at some point. But yeah, I'll be curious to see where they take it. But yeah, I think that's about it for this episode. So, with that being said, what did you guys think of these episodes? Let me know down in the comment section below. And look forward to more videos, because it appears everything is working fine as far as uploading, which is fantastic news. Hopefully, I'll be able to get caught up real quick, and then we can start on these new seasons that I've missed out on. But yeah, glad to be back, and I'll see you guys at the next episode. Peace out.